Updated December 4, 2017. 124,836 Liberal MP Tim Wilson has proposed to his long-term partner Ryan Bolger in the House of Representatives, shortly after the same-sex marriage bill was introduced to the lower house. Key points: Ryan Bolger was present in the chamber for the proposal and said yes. Tim Wilson became emotional when paying tribute to Mr. Bolger. Deputy Speaker Rob Mitchell congratulated the couple amid applause. Mr. Wilson has been engaged to the school teacher for 9 years and reaffirmed his proposal during a speech on the issue. Mr. Bolger was present in the chamber for the proposal and said yes, prompting applause from all sides of politics. "In my first speech I defined our bond by the ring that sits on both of our left hands," Mr. Wilson said. "They are the answer to the question we cannot ask. So there's only one thing left." To Ryan Patrick Bolger, "Will you marry me?" Mr. Wilson became emotional when paying tribute to Mr. Bolger, thanking him for his trust and for standing beside him during his political career. "This debate has been the soundtrack to our relationship," Mr. Wilson said. "We both know this issue isn't the reason we got involved in politics. Give us tax reform any day." Wilson spoke about the varying reactions he had from friends when he first announced his relationship with Mr. Bolger years ago. Always with an eye to the future, the member for Kooyong Josh Frydenberg and his wife Amy sent flowers, but when we told others, many simply didn't know how to react, he said. He said some people did not reply to his text messages while some tried to change the conversation. Another person asked him why bother. "For a while, Ryan kept pushing for an engagement party, but the truth was I kept delaying it, perhaps wrongly, because the strong message I took from so many people's silence was no one would come," he said. Deputy Speaker Rob Mitchell congratulated the couple amid applause and made sure there was no doubt about Mr. Bolger's reply. "We should let Hansard note to record that was a yes, a resounding yes," he said. Ench introduces legislation to lower house. A same-sex marriage legislation was introduced in the House of Representatives this morning and is expected to pass easily after debate on proposed religious protection amendments. The private member's bill passed the Senate comfortably last week with all amendments rejected by the opposition and some Liberal senators. Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull said the high postal survey turnout provided the ultimate democratic seal to this historic change. "This is a day to be especially proud that all of our friends, colleagues, neighbors, brothers and sisters can marry the people they love," Mr. Turnbull said. "Most of all, to same-sex couples in Australia, you are equal, you are respected, you are loved." The bill was introduced by Liberal MP Warren Ench, a longtime advocate for same-sex marriage, and the coalition pushed for a free vote on the issue in August. Mr. Ench noted he was often described as a fiercely heterosexual Queenslander who has been working to remove legal and financial discrimination within the gay and transgender community. "Who is it to say that another person should be denied equal rights or that the love is in some way less because of who they love," he said. Mr. Ench said discussions about free speech, education, charities and tax law were important debates, but should not be conflated with same-sex marriage legislation. "This bill is about marriage and only about marriage," he said. "It doesn't create different classes or marriage. What it does is give same-sex marriage the same legal rights as other couples." Mr. Ench also dedicated his advocacy on same-sex marriage to Kate Oak, a transgender journalist who shared her story with a Liberal MP. "She came to me as a journalist trying to understand my advocacy in this area and over an extended period of time in my office," Mr. Ench said. "She eventually shared with me her story. I had the privilege of being the first person to hear. Subsequently, we have been there for Kate MPs to debate religious protection amendments. Most of the debate on amendments will focus on whether civil celebrants can be allowed to refuse to marry same-sex couples based on their own religious beliefs." Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull said he supports that amendment, which was unsuccessfully introduced in the Senate last week by Attorney General George Brandis. "A lot of the amendments we're talking about are really providing assurance that things that are unintended consequences are not going to occur," Mr. Turnbull told Sky News yesterday. Labour has voted as a bloc to reject all amendments to Liberal Senator Dean Smith's bill, but coalition MPs have a conscience vote on this issue and can vote as they wish. Some lower house cabinet members, including Christopher Pyne, believe there are sufficient religious protections in the bill and no amendments are needed. If any amendments are accepted, then the legislation will need to go back to the Senate for another vote. In any case, the Turnbull government has made it clear Parliament will continue to debate same-sex marriage until it is passed, fulfilling a commitment to finalise the issue before Christmas. Topics: Government and politics, Federal Parliament, Federal Government, marriage, gays and lesbians, political parties, sexuality. Australia first posted December 4, 2017 113,148.